Batra Daf Mem Zayin Amud Aleph 21 lines down. Tanurban Bretta says, Uman ino hazaka, craftsman can't make hazaka because we understand why he's there. He's obviously not owning it. Yerad me'unato yesh hazaka, but if he quits being a craftsman, he now can make a hazaka. He has no business being there. Aris ino hazaka, similarly, a sharecropper can't make a hazaka because he has a reason to be there. Yerad me'unato yesh hazaka, but if he stops sharecropping, then he can establish because he has no business being there. Ben Shahalak, a son who's separated from his father. A woman who got divorced from her husband, they're like a regular person that they can make hazakot. Now, Bishlama ben I understand why the Gemara needs to teach me the son who separates from his father can make a hazaka. Maybe you might think the father will forgive his son working there, and it should not be assumed he bought it, and therefore there should be no hazaka. Therefore, the Bart teaches the Hidush is that a father will not forgive his son to sit there, and therefore the son can make a hazaka. But what is the Hidush of Ella Isha Shnedgar Shabshita? A woman who got divorced, of course, she can make a hazakah. They're not on the best terms. Of course, if she's there, she's making a hazakah. Umar says, no, the Hiduth is referring to a case, common case where she's divorced, but not divorced. The safek case of divorce. Any time there's a case where a woman who's safek divorced, yani she's divorced but not divorced, the husband's required to support her in case they are married, and therefore you might think that since he's chayav to feed her, therefore she can't make a hazakah on his property. Therefore, the practice teaches that you are chayav. What's a case of safek divorce? If he threw her again, and we're not sure if she was acquiring it to make her divorced, it was right in between them, etc. Okay. Mar Nachman, Kulan Sheviu Raya, in all the cases, the craftsmen, etc., if they brought a proof that they bought it, Rayatan Raya, it's a good proof. We place the field in their hands. We give it to them, no problem. Except, Kazlan Shevi Raya, robber brings proof, in Rayatan Raya, and we don't bring it's not a good proof, and we don't give it to him. So, my commission was a Hidush. Mishnah said the same thing. Lakach Mesikri Kon. If someone acquired a property from someone who extortions property. So this guy is known for forcing people to sell him properties. So let's say I buy it from this mafia guy. This mafia guy bought the land from the guy yesterday because he could put a gun to his head. Then I go, you know what? I know that this guy extorted it from Reuven. Let me go to Reuven and pay him as well. It is not a good acquisition. So we see that because the owner obviously was extorted and was forced to sell it, it's not a good transfer of property. So why do you see over here that the robber who buys is not a good proof as well? It's same hidush. The Gemara says la'afluku midrav, it's going to exclude Rav. Amar Rav holds lo shana amar lech hazek v'kni. Mishnah only told about that it's a bad acquisition. Is where the owner told the buyer from the like me buying it from the extortionist, go and acquire it, but I didn't certify it. He didn't certify it, but if the guy did write a document, he is koneh. Kamash plan Gidei Shmuel. We don't hold like that. Rav Huna teaching like Shmuel. The Amar af bishtar nami lo kana ad sheyachtov achriyot nechasim. He holds even if the guy wrote a document for you to buy it from the extortionist, he said he's giving his blessing that you're buying it from the extortionist. It's still not a good acquisition until he writes a guarantee which secures it in the transfer. So Rav Huna holds that in that scenario, just the proof of ownership, which is a document, is not good enough unless he takes it to the next level with a certifying guarantee. Rabbi adds something to it. If the case where the robber does not get the land, but he does get refunded. So if the robber paid the money from the extortion, yeah, I'm selling you this, I'm buying the field off of you, here's a gun to your head, here's take $1,000,000. It's true that we have to return the guy doesn't acquire the land, but we refund the money to the robber. That you have to refund the money. But that only applies when we have witnesses that the robber counted out money and handed him the flus. But if the witnesses just say that he admitted that he paid him, look, that's not a good proof that he got paid, and therefore we don't refund them. Why? Because he had this concept previously that maybe the guy feels pressure to admit that he got paid or whatever it is. because he's afraid that if he doesn't do that, this powerful guy is going to make his life miserable and take him to the government. So therefore, the only time you refund the robber is if you know that he paid him. Witnesses testify that he was counting out cash, but if he just admits that he paid him, it's not good enough because it could be he's scared. Marabuna, tell you who was the someone forced someone else to sell them something. Zivini, it's a good sale. Meaning, even though I drove him nuts, even though I hurt him, it's a good sale. My time why if it wasn't in general, he hopes it's no different than when someone sells their property because of a financial issue. They need money. Even though they're under distress, financial distress, for example, it's a good sale. So to over here, this is a good sale. Because it's physical distress doesn't make a difference. But then okay, fine. A guy under the financial distress is one thing, but physical distress shouldn't be a good transaction. Where it says, you can prove that a forced sale is good because of the bright top. Yeah, kriv oto. The pasuk says that you could bring a korban. The Torah teaches you that you can force someone to bring a korban that he's chayav to bring. Yeah, maybe you might think only if he, again, even against his will, but the pasuk says it has to be willingly. How can I mean forced but willingly? We see that you can force someone to bring a korban until he says I want to. So we see that consent by being pressured or forced is good consent. So it's over here regarding acquisition. The Gemara says, maybe you can force someone to bring a korban because he wants kapara. Deep down, he needs kapara and he wants kapara. So that's why you can quote unquote force him to gain that. But over here by a sale, it's not like that. The Gemara says, okay, different case. Same applies by a get of a woman. A guy says, you can force the guy to give a get, twist his arm behind his back, and says, I want to give you the get. But the Gemara says, okay, but the we know that you're allowed to force someone to give a get, twist his arm behind his back, to force him to give a get to his wife, because it's a mitzvah to listen to Chachamim. So that's not a proof regarding a forced sale that it should work. The Gemara says, it's logical. Because of his distress, he's gonna hand over the ownership. Now the problem is motif. But Rabbi Yehuda has a question. Get hame'useh, a get that was forced be Israel kasher. If he was forced by Jewish betin, it's a good kasher get. Be'odeh kochavim pasul. If it was forced by goyim alone, it's not a good get. Uvdeh kochavim. Let's say if the Jews used the kochavim, kochavim to ma'alim lo. Aseh ma Israel omer lach. If the goyim were the ones who hit the guy and said, "Do what the Jews telling you to do," it's kosher. Now the Gemara says, how come if it's just the goy on their own, it's pasul? That maybe because of his distress, he's divorcing her. Just like over here, we said regarding the property, because of his distress. Because the reason is, really, in Doraita, a goy who forces a Jew even without hachamim, it's kasher. So how come we stopped goyim from doing it? Because if you allow a goy without bedin, without a Jew in charge, to take out gitin, then any woman who's not happy with the marriage, no matter what, will hire the nearest non-Yehud, the nearest goy, to force the husband to give a get, and now she's free. We'll stop here. Amen. Amen.